So apparently, not only did I get interrupted about 5 minutes into the stream, I wasn't even streaming. So good for me. I guess it was good. Make sure this is live now. Yeah, okay. We can delete this other one. Whatever. I'll delete that in a little bit. No, I probably should delete it now because sorry, I've had some technical difficulties here. Have a rough morning. This is my wrong channel. To see what's all going on YouTube. So basically, I'm working on WebSockets today, and Twitch account, stream, and content. Delete this one so people don't show up and start trying to watch it. Okie doke. So yeah, I'm trying to get WebSockets working, and the idea is that this will be all the stuff will be on the screen, but then as you're running live, you will be able to run the tests, and you'll type tanco now. It's or tanco. I used to saying that word, but it's going to be called TANCO for tangent code, as rogo is a registered trademark. But the idea would be that use type. I should probably just make this, but like whatever. Anyway, you type rogo test, and then it runs your, because we're in the wrong directory, rogo test, and it runs your tests, and test fails, and then when that test fails, it should pop up on the screen here. And there's a little bit of a state machine involved in there because we do want to, we don't want to just immediately give you a failing test after you pass all your tests. You want a chance to like refactor and clean up and check in your code and that kind of thing. So once all your tests pass, we're going to say, oh, it's time to, it's everything is passed. So let's, clean up whatever you want, and when you're ready to go, type rogo next. And then eventually there'll be a button right here on the screen that actually sends a message back to the client, and that means the client itself will have a WebSocket connection. But I don't think I'm there yet. I think that's going to involve a little bit more work. So we'll see. Because basically you'd have to hand over control of the client, and yeah, so that'll come another day. But obviously, for anything where I'm hosting the back end or I'm hosting the actual code going to come in the future, then the WebSocket that's exactly how it's going to work. You're going to hit a button here. Anyway, so if we go into the website, the web front end here, and we go into app.py, which I guess is already open, and if we type Alt7, we get a structure of that. Oh, but I want a structure of this, and I can close these. I don't need the templates right now. So up here at the top, I already have this queue for sending, for authorization. Probably should have a different name. What I'm picturing is that you could have multiple browser windows open pointing at this thing. And more on point, I guess, would be that there could be like a server admin could be watching the server. Like you might want to see who's logged in and what they're doing, and just kind of have a little status page running, like what tests are passing and whatnot. So I'm going to call it like observers. And that's going to be a list of dictionaries. So say, I can just say this. I'm sure there's some better way to write that code, but that's going to be empty. And actually, sorry, it's a dictionary of lists. And we're going to say like attempt. We're going to map attempts to a list of queues, basically. that right? Would it be a list of queues? List of messages, yeah. So a list of queues. So async IO queue, and this is a dictionary mapping pre-token to async IO queue to async IO.queue. This is the closest thing I've found so far to like in basic Python to a channel in Rust or Go. I was looking earlier, and it does seem there are some libraries that offer that kind of concurrency, but I don't think my needs are that complicated right now. I did make the switch from Flask to Quart just to make this happen, so that I got everything in an asynchronous environment, one single process, and everything working that way. But all right, so what are we going to do here? So we have, this is where we're going to put the observers, and maybe we can call it attempt observer. Just observers is fine. So this is used by WebSockets or whatever. Well, whatever. All right, so now that really is the map. That's all I need. They're WebSockets at code live. So if we go to a attempt and then the attempt number, I probably should start breaking this up into different files or whatever. So if we say this is not a platonic thing, this is going to be app.websocket a code. I think I called it live. Yeah. Yeah, and this is a decorator. I think that has to be, obviously that has to be async, but what is the actual, probably just, I need the, using WebSocket. So using WebSockets in here, we just say app WebSocket, whatever, async def attempt live. And what do we do? Okay. I guess we do want to handle the disconnect. So when they disconnect, we will do something. Okay, so while true, we have to import .websocket. We say quart.websocket. We say await quart.websocket receive. I'm just going to say ws equals quart.websocket. Await quart.websocket. And then we'll say ws receive, ws send. Certainly that's await. I would imagine you have to do all these things. Like you have to await this, you have to await this, and you have to await this. Maybe you don't need to. We'll see. It'll give me an error if you don't have to await that. All right, maybe local proxy. I think you just do that. But we're not actually waiting on the WebSocket. So okay, so we're going to say you connect to this thing, and we're going to say observers set default attempt. No, the code. So we need a code here. Oh, my alarm is going off. Telling me it's 11 o'clock. Is that right? 11 o'clock. Async def attempt code. So we take the code and we say for the observer of this code, we're going to get set default sets the default to, sets return that. It's like getting the value out, but if there isn't a key already for that code in the dictionary, then we will return this. We will set it to that empty string or this empty list, and then we are going to append no, it's not a WebSocket. We're going to spend a queue. So we're going to say queue. We'll say I guess ob is a async io io.q q, and then we'll append the queue to that. And then when it's canceled, then we'll say observers remove queue. And we're not going to receive anything from this endpoint. We're just going to so await queue.get. And then we're going to send something. So I guess what we want to do is we want to say HTML is going to be live. That's exactly right. And then we send the HTML. Because the HTMX library that we're using for the front end expects that. So let's make a live template, new. It is going to be a HTML, but I'm going to call it just live.html. Otherwise, it gives you like a pre-filled thing. We got line feeds now. What would this be? So let's just send any message right now. So say div id equals live, and we say, I think that's hello. Or we'll just send the data in here. And then let's make another place. Let's make another thing where I can send something to this. So just like a little temp thing. So we'll call this a code temp, and we will get what this will do is it will get all. We'll say get this. We'll say okay. So await data equals port. We have to await port dot request dot form get data. So whatever the data is, that's what was going to show up in the thing. So, and then for O in observers get code await output data. And that's it. This would be methods equals post, and then just return, return OK. That's exactly what I was going to type. All right, so then in the attempt thing, we're going to connect to both of these things. We're going to connect to live and temp. Oops. Temp. So let's make a little form over here. Div ID equals, sorry, form method equals post, action equals temp, method equals post, and then close form, and then inside the form we're going to have what? We're going to have input type equals text, name equals data, value equals empty, and then what's the name of the pre-filled data? Suggestion? Come on, what is the name of the thing? MDN input tag. Type equals text. Oh, I didn't know that. Placeholder, that's what I'm looking. Placeholder equals your data. And then br, and then input type equals submit, value equals submit. And we do need to somehow, I'm not sure what the, let's just try and see what if this is it. This might not work, I don't know. And then we're going to say form action equals live, not form, let's say div ID equals live. And I am going to have to look at what the WebSocket thing is for HTMX. So I actually have that pulled up. I wonder if I can just stick this right here. So you say hx extension equals that, and then ws connect equals this. So oh, we say ws, but we're not sending a message here. I think we just say live. Ws connect equals live. And we'll call this ws. And then inside of it, maybe we'll put live. Div ID equals live. And I don't even think it needs to be inside. Like I think that's it. We just have that thing connected. And then not connected. Not yet or connecting. How about that? All right, so then over here, make sure the server's still running. It's not. I had a feeling it would. Show test. Oh. All right, so somehow I have 2 copies of the word show test. Okay, because I copied. What? Oh, this is wrong. No. It previously did say show test. I bet I copied and pasted one of these things. Yeah, I copied this. I had 2 copies of it. That killed the server, and then I did it. I renamed it to attempt live again. I don't know, copied the wrong thing. I don't know. So this is attempt. I probably copied this one to make this one or something. Attempt. Temporary form handler. Temp thing to trigger WebSocket updates. All right, so we do have to start over again. All right, refresh this. I'm not seeing my form. I'm not sure. I click on that and that takes me here. I think that's meant. Oh, that's showing me this function is what's using the. Okay, interesting. Then in the attempt, let's move this all up before progress. It should be right at the top of the page. It is not. What is going wrong here? Did it not? It's uploading things. Why didn't it upload the? Obviously, it's uploading things because it's reacting to my changes. If I go to ver rogo templates, templates. Did I change it in the wrong file? It is an attempt, right? Okay. I restarted the server. Why? What's going on here? It's interesting that attempt doesn't have one of these. What is this? Should have picked this up. Is my little platonic thing screwing that up? Wait. Shouldn't. Should be fine. And even then, like, it shouldn't be caching something wrong because because there's no error. It's just showing like an old version of this. This is actually just explicit. Maybe this is somehow set to not upload automatically, but it is because I saw it in the file. Like if we cat say less rogo templates attempt.html. There's the form right there. And there's where it says connecting. I mean, that is a bug that you can't have that. Bug, but like you can't actually do that. You don't have a self-closing tag in HTML, but I don't get it. Two copies of the server running or something? Hmm. So RMR, I don't need this DN anymore. At run server. I know that Jinja keeps a cache. I didn't create a cache. Okay, so per default, Jinja is recommended to use Quart. Maybe Quart Jinja cache. I'm a little baffled by this. This should absolutely. I'm like looking for where that cache would be. Like, where is the Jinja cache? Where is Jinja 2 cache? It says it doesn't use one by default. Port. And there's some shells. What did it say? Import Jinja2 clear caches. I got it. And then run reload. Still nothing. Oh, I was looking at this test. Yeah, it had to be something dumb like that. Okay, so there. Okay, this is okay. So now we say test. Okay, so an illegal or an invalid or illegal string was specified. Create WebSocket. So I think we have to actually create a function called create WebSocket, and we'll just put it here in the attempt script. And then function create WebSocket. So this is like what they expect. So all you have to do is do something that returns a WebSocket. I have an old something I did in Go a while back, or JavaScript talking to a Go backend, but it's a WebSocket thing. So we'll just do right, and then everything up to on message. I don't think we need an on message because it's HTMX is going to supply its own on message, which is to just read things from down the socket, and then so we just return this. Return rs. Return ws. And we're just going to document location. I think we're going to just say ws I think you can pass in a relative thing, so ws live. And let's say console.log. And we have the console open over here. And so when we refresh, boom, invalid or illegal string was specified. And if we pretty print this, we can see exactly what the error is. Console error E. Okay, but that's WebSocket, CSS source. How would we say? Let's test the code that I'm trying to write. But it's in the in my own code. See if we can do this. And we're not going to use the word let. We're going to say the new WebSocket. The operation is insecure. It should. Oh, it's possible that Nginx is blocking this. I've experienced that before, and I'm kind of expecting to see that. Just double check it. Let's see what it does in the network. What are we actually seeing in here? Let's clear all this out. Clear all this. No, I said clear it. What if you just say .live, ./live? Do you have to say document.location? Is that document.location for, okay, so. We're getting any error on the back end? Here it is. Here it is. Never even open the connection. Oh, right, because it's okay. Document location. Replace HTTP with WS. But you don't actually replace it. So let's just quote it, and then, oh, two curly braces. Yeah, to do this, right? What am I crazy to think that? Oh, there we go. I am crazy. I'm mixing up different things. Document the location and then replace. You can't actually replace it in place. You have to cast it to a string first. Okay, so, and I stuck an extra dot in there. Replace. All right, so new. Hello, person watching. New WebSocket. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so that actually worked. Except it didn't. It said HTTP. Oh, okay. So we're because that HTTP was actually in the WebSocket. So this is not going to work. And then we got to say plus. Or actually, we have a format string over here. So we could put so looking at this, we need to go /live, place it in Firefox. Cannot establish a connection to the server at rogo tangent. I think this is in this error. We got a bad request. We got a bad request. I think this might be Nginx acting up. Hey, Batlin. Oh, it's just the error message when it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't like the. Yeah, it wasn't very clear what was going on, but. Request headers, response headers. I'm just going to triple check that I actually set this up to say, well, first of all, do I have anything in? It does get that. And live. Oh, I didn't call it live. So I lost, there's no live here. There's live here. It is. When I search for live, why didn't it? I must have screwed something up. So app WebSocket A code live, A code live. So that worked. I think it's Nginx. Nginx allow WebSockets. Proxy allow WebSockets. Interesting. Okay, so then over here we will say go sites available. Go.tangentcode.com. A little messy stuff in here that we generated from CurtBot, which is actually really cool. Ooh. Locations. Yeah, locate. Is it a regex? Oh yeah, you say tilde. So a I think that's a forward look ahead. That's not a named section. Oh, it does. Okay. So you can name things, but I don't need it. So I just want to say really dot star and then live. And when we do that, then we will we already have this. I think we need to say, I don't know if this overrides this or I'll add this stuff and then connection and connection. I don't think I need this. I don't remember having to do anything like that before. I think you just send this. I don't know if you need this or not, but I'm gonna just put it in here. Oh. Maybe I think you can do this. This might not work at all, but we'll see. And then I say, you can't see what I'm typing, but I'll go back to install. Sudo deploy nginx. Sudo deploy nginx. It failed. Status nginx service. Sudo tail -f, etc. Nginx error. Error log nginx error log. unknown connection upgrade variable. So you do need this. Maybe I should just put. So the connection header is correctly set to close when the upgrade header in the request is set to empty. Okay, I don't fully understand that, but I'm going to copy that and put a link to. Maybe I should read this more carefully, but we'll find out. All right, so that causes connection upgrade to exist, I guess. So deploy again. Still failed. Is not allowed here. Probably not allowed in the server. Not. Oh. Map is not allowed there. Right. I'm gonna just comment this out. Seems to have worked. Okay, let's try this again and see if we can get a socket now. Okay. Giving me a no such file or directory. So do I have to set all this stuff? This is just annoying, isn't it? I think we have to set all this stuff. But I need to name that group so I can pass it into the URL here. A live. I'm going to say like code. How do we do that? Nginx capture code. Or code doesn't want to code it, capture regex. All right, so we say question mark name. Say code. See if that works. It accepted it. So try again. I'm not getting an error. Am I getting an error in this side? When I connect here, add two connections here. Doesn't look like I'm getting an error in the server. But it is passing it through correctly. Just to be sure, I'm going to change. Let's put something in there that makes it break. Watching this. Did do that. But it did not establish a connection. Pause. Well, okay, obviously it's going to make a 404, right? So it made sense. Okay, so we're going to remove this off. So everything looks like it's correct to me. Deploy it. Here it is. Can't establish a server to the Let me double check what the quart configuration. Let's put like a handler in the quart thing just to see if it's running. Got here. In here. I'll stand out in the log there. Should be reloading. Did reload. Okay, so we do it again. You don't see in here. All right, so app WebSocket is not the right thing. Using WebSockets. It is a/live, right? A something live in here. I got a 400 error, but this gave me a see it. And it says it's a 400. Is it possible that maybe the route doesn't accept? Just change it to WebSocket. Like maybe it doesn't. Maybe I can't match a code in here. We'll just change this to live and just see if we get anything. And then we'll say code equals, you know, ABC 1, 2, 3. Then we'll try document location dot host /live. Document location protocol. Or just put so new web socket. I said a live, a /live, a live. That's matching something else. That's matching the attempt with the code. So just put it at /live, like I just said. And we'll just change it to live. Still giving a 404 error. Or, I mean, 400 error. 400 is a bad request. What is this upstream WebSocket? I think that's just a name for. I'm guessing maybe the. Oh, this had another thing, didn't it? It had connection in here. This connection thing we didn't. But then. Hmm. connection upgrade. I'm going to leave a copy of this for this and for live, and just see if either one of them works. Okay. Oh, that's not right. First of all, it's mapping to a live, so that's not right. I'm trying to alt tab something. Alt tab. Okay, so live actually goes here. That's better. Saying cannot have URI part in location given by regular expression or inside name location. Line 27. Cannot have URI part in location given by. It doesn't like this line. What? Why not? What about this? No. This. I think that, yeah, I think, yeah, that works. Okay. Right, but I don't want that little slash at the end, and I just put it in there only because of, yeah, okay, so, okay. And now if we go here we go. Ah, okay, so finally it did something in here, so that triggered it. So I'm thinking that the problem is that The problem was that the code it wouldn't match the code. The WebSocket routing or the routing doesn't the URL routing doesn't seem to work the same way for WebSockets. Right? But we did get this much, and it does recognize that it's a WebSocket. So observers, okay. Observers. You say global observers. 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 Oh, equals dictionary. Yeah, so if you don't actually create, okay, so that's why. This is not necessary, but say global. You don't actually have to put that word in there unless you're doing an assignment. Yeah, there we go. Now we have a WebSocket. Only took me an hour. Okay. Just off to a great start today. Right, and in theory, we should be able to also we'll call this just live. I'm going to make a copy of that just plain live. So this is an exact copy. I'm going to say A code live and code. And then here, we're going to just call this live. Yes, it is a duplicated code. Good job. Interesting that it notices that. Okay. Boom. That works just fine. And we're going to say document.location. .live. Okay. Replace HTTP with WS. They're both running. It's in here. Let it test. Oh, see, this is mad because it thinks because it's not okay. So It's replacing the code with something. So let me just double check that this form works and see what happens. That's not how you say that. That's not set attribute action, and then that's going to be document.location plus PNG. Will work. You don't put that when you do that. All right, so then if we save this, this should work. Fonts error code 405. Method is not allowed. Okay, so then that method needs to take a post. That oh, I did this here too. Methods equals post. This goes here. And again, make sure this crashed. Oops, WebSocket. Oh, well, this is part of my problem. Okay, so, well. This one is not a WebSocket. And of course, it's dead, so reboot it. Boom. This should work. Okay, but then we have to tell, did I say boost on it? The attempt. So I said boost, and boost does not seem to be the thing to do for a form. htmx.org. Reference. Let's say oh, target is response. So we have to say like target equals response. Or like something, you have to say target is something. And then div ID equals response. here. Waiting. So if say test, then that should not getting a response back. Getting a 405 error. Means what? Method not allowed, right? Did I just see that a minute ago? That worked. No, that's because I did it. It just not connect. What just happened? This page, submit. Response error code 405. I don't want to see that. I want to see the response. Method is not allowed for the requested URL. So it ignored that because it didn't see an okay, so I just need to pass in the temp URL for this. Okay, because like here I'm trying to do this thing where I like build up what the location should be. You can't just say /post because there's no slash at the end of it. So I guess in my little mini framework, I need to provide that to the okay, so court request path URI equals this for location URL. I think if I do that and I put this here and I say post, I say action equals URL /temp. I think I'm good. I think it's not going to have a HTTP or in front of it, so I just put that there. Submit. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. See what it says now. First, I want to see what this form looks like. Remove the double slash. Refresh. I'll hit submit. Said okay, but it didn't. So it didn't boost it. Target hx target equals response. I've lost the h. So hx boost is true. Hx target equals response. Right. So just double check. Form is good. Submit the form, and it said okay down here. Okay. And so now we can actually just change this and send back whatever we got. A lot of work for a temporary dot plus data. HTMX. Let me just double check this. I see what happened there is it put the temp in the URL. I don't want the temp in the URL. I don't want to. I want to submit, but not change the. So HTMX. How do I tell it to not? HTMX. Do not change URL. So HTMX replace URL false. Normally you do want that, at least for your navigation stuff. In here. All right, one more time. That's right. Okay, we're learning about it. Did not change the URL, got test. There we go. Okay, so that worked. And now we're gonna await WebSocket content. So waiting WebSocket content, that is right. It looks like it is connecting, right? Like it looks like there's a connection there. We should see in attempt live. But I feel like it's gonna time out in a minute. Say unable to connect to response, but maybe it's not. Okay, so connect equals live. So first of all, do we have the word hello on the screen? Yes, okay, so that can go away. So temp form to post to trigger WebSocket. And then WebSocket content. And now progress on the attempt. List progress past tests. Click on this, it should say IOQ down here, IOP down here, that's right. And we move this. I think maybe we want this to not. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, let's paste this command in here or whatever we had set. So document the location live. Play. WS equals new WebSocket document location live for that. Right. Boom. Him. Didn't. I don't think this is firing. I don't think the right thing is happening here. All right, so I think create WebSocket, maybe it takes a string or something. See what HTMX create WebSocket does. HTMX create WebSocket. Yeah, so it takes something. So that is an HTMX error. Okay, so console log connecting to URL. And I'm guessing we actually need to replace this with this. Probably document dot. Well, it's gonna have like a WebSocket thing. So I don't even know what it's gonna do. Let's just see what it says. Trying, yeah. See if it works. I don't think it's gonna work at all. Maybe I should read this a little more carefully. I thought you know, wow, I page back and forth. Okay, so I think HTMX create WebSocket equals function. Connecting to live. Okay, now we got that. Live. And that is wrong. And this is now sending that. So that should be coming from my code. It is. Okay, good. So All right, we're connected. Now, when I say submit, I got both of them. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So the WebSocket is sending one and the other is sending the other. Why is it sending it? Because this form, the live form here says data. So live data. And then we submit it here. We don't even have to refresh. Live data. There we go. Boom. Okay. Well, that was very complicated. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Right? But the point was not to just put that there. The point was to put the next test there, right? So maybe if I say something like io.q, then we'll send the live data will be the template for io.q, which is the same thing we get down here. Except the other thing that we're going to have is the actual output. So okay, so let's commit this. Well, what I've done here is I've shown that I can have one connection, one URL, post something to that URL, and then we have a way to down notify the listener. So this went over an HTTP request. This came back. Oh, why not? Because it changed this changed the URL. So we definitely do not want to change the URL here. You shouldn't be changing the URL when you're looking at the attempt. I think that's fair to say. The attempt is live. Right, and if you really want to change it, you say right click, you just go over there and you open in the same URL, and then you get this. And then it still connects to live. No, it didn't. No way it did. Did it? Right. It did not connect to live. Okay. So yeah, you can always just right click and open in a new window, but if you do it here, we will not change the URL. And if you bookmark it, you will just get the progress page, not the, it'll be like dynamic stuff. So that means we need to change this. What happened here? Well, it is trying that. But because, yeah, right, because I went to this page. Okay, so in the attempt, then wherever we say rewrite URL, I could just probably wrap the whole thing in a div. Div. Oh, even a span. All right. HTMX reacts when it sees the title here, but it also inserts the title into your document, which I think is kind of weird. But it doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so let's move this here because we can get that little note about the works. We connect you, we're good. Send some data, we get the data back. Okay, so let's commit this. logo. What are we going to call it? We're going to say establish WebSocket observers for WebSocket observers for an attempt. With the intent of doing the live connections. Okay, so close that. Okay. You leave the page and when you come back, it makes a new connection. Oh. I don't know why I made it connected twice. But it did, yeah. Interesting. So there might be some little bugs I need to work out here, but at least some data is going through. I don't know why it's breaking like that, but maybe Firefox. It seems to be when I'm switching tabs, which seems wrong. That's not the behavior I would expect. Or Nginx is just timing out and it just happened to coincide with something. Nginx might very well be creating a timeout. Like I feel like I had to set some kind of timeout somewhere, or unset some kind. Yeah, that wasn't me at all. It doesn't really matter. I guess it matters if it disconnects at the exact moment that you're sending the response, the message. So we do need to fix this. But I'm not going to worry about it right this second. That is working. Okay. Yeah, this is the post response. This is the WebSocket. So next thing. So the next thing to do, so instead of test, instead of using this little form here, now we want to trigger that when we do rogo test. Rogo test. Maybe tanco is a tanco. Well, it doesn't matter. It's easier for me to type because I use a weird keyboard. Tanco test. Rogo test. I need to get used to calling it that, so I'll update that very soon. All right, so I want to see this now here. And so behind the scenes, that is calling a rogo test is calling check here. Let's copy this thing from temp. I think that's actually it. And what do we want to put when we send this test? How about JSON dump SR the results to data? Import JSON. This is just temporary, so that there. I don't think this is just going to work. Everything's working, and now if we send rogo test, yeah, there we go. So we need to pump this through a template. So instead of JSON, say HTML is going to be some await, but not live. We're going to say result.html. Hang on one second. Yeah. Sorry. I meant to get a little be right back button or something. If observers, let's see, how about O's equals observers get code. If O's, you can do this, but if obs equals observers get code, I just lost something on the stack. Then we want to, yes, but first we want to HTML is equal to part of this live streaming thing is, you know, never know what's going to happen. Someone can always interrupt you. I have someone watching my little girl, and it's a different person than usual, so there are some interruptions today. For render template, result.html. But HTML. And really, we should probably have the test information in here as well. So test equals, do we have T as a test? Test description, yes. So test equals T, and result equals R to data. Oh, we don't need R to data. We could actually use R because this is a Python framework. So we have test and result, and now let's. Is there anything special about the word live? Live.html? Where am I actually using it? Right. So we were saying send, you know, when we get the data, I think we're just going to send data. And we don't need this live thing anymore. I don't know why it stopped working and then suddenly started working. Maybe it's a, I don't know. That it might be that the timeout was changing. Why would the timeout change? That didn't make any sense. I can get rid of this now. I'll just verify that I can get rid of this. Oops, I put in my password. That seems to have worked. That we don't have to restart, but we probably refresh. Right, so we don't have that template yet, do we? Did I make it? No. Right, but the point was live. The question was, do we need that? We do not. So we would now remove. What happens here now? This doesn't really matter. We're connected. We submit it, get it, and we get await WebSocket content. But there's no. But maybe if we put like this, how about div hello, div. Send us some HTML. Yeah, there we go. Why didn't it replace that? Oh, because we didn't say div ID equals live. They both have the same ID. That's crazy. Something screwy there, but that doesn't matter. We want here. Probably what we do want there is in that thing we're going to wrap whatever we do get down this whatever we do get in the live screen is going to be we're going to do it in Python style, so we're going to say div ID equals live and then put the HTML in. And then div. Or is it span? I think it's span ID. No, that's not where I put the span, but anyway. Temp something ID equals live, span ID equals live. Whatever comes in here, let's see. Boom. So do this, what happens? Let's see what's. Maybe it was, yeah, maybe it was writing to the. Like, I felt like that was working. I'm a little confused now. Oh, I called it div ID equals span. I want to say span. That was dumb. Sorry. Almost all bugs, I believe, are caused by thinking you typed something and then believing you typed it without actually reading what you typed. This is the post response, and then this is the. But I also think that. Well, yeah, you have to wrap it in live because you want it to. You want that to. What's the current status? Test drive ready? Almost. I think it needs. This is gonna be ugly. I think it needs like I want to do like a beauty pass on here. Let's see. I also got called away. I have a someone watching my kids downstairs. Daughter, my little kid. All right, I think this is supposed to now. Oh, it didn't. I was expecting this to populate something. Connection closed. Okay. Try it again. Refresh. Connection is open. We type something here. We get a message. Oh, is the server dead? No. This was just working a second ago. What have I done? This is like locked up. Kill all.kill port. Sudo apt install kill all. PS misc. Wait, what is that? It's there. Kill all. Did I just mistype? Yeah, I probably mistyped it. Kill all the kill. Well, it's already okay. So. I'm not really sure what's happening with my WebSockets, but this is responsive, showing me this. And if I say rogo test, template not found. Okay, so now that's my problem, is that I was going to send a information here, and when it says, I'm going to say result.html, and we're going to say test, or h1 test.name, and then h2 expected. Actually, I think h2 is supposed to be the expected. This is kind of the same as test, right? There's some way you can include this, but it won't be called data. So I'm just going to copy this. I'll make it pretty when I do it, like I said, the pass on. But then the actual is we don't have to decipher that. We can get it directly from here. So result. So whenever, so the check thing sends the test name, and then we get actual, and so then actual would be this. Actual equals actual. And then, oh, for both of these, we want to say like for line in actual, and then we want to say line, and we want it to be like pre. Oh, no, probably actual is already a list of strings, right? No. I gotta look and see, because it could be either of two things. This is like a type. This is one of those things where like type hinting sheet. So actual is none. Check output actual. So actual here is expecting what? String. I'm pretty sure this is a string. No, it's not. It's a list of strings, because we're getting JSON. All right, so then, yeah, so I do need to say that. an actual line. And this is this. Okay, so if I run this, connection closed. This one live? I'm getting at like 500 errors for trying to connect to the WebSocket. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why yet. And I don't see any error message anywhere. Or maybe I see it over here. No error message here. Canceled error. Not sure. Got that message. None of these are showing none of them are showing the response. You know, if you just refresh the page, you get this. This is a WebSocket. So you click on that and you say XXX submit. It was showing you the messages. But it clearly got a message because it's oh, it didn't send the first message. Interesting. There was clearly a first message. All right, anyway, it doesn't matter. Now, if we do this, hopefully it should trigger that thing and send me, yeah, there we go. Test expected, actual progress. Okay. I think because yeah, because this is pre, I think we have to do this, something like this, maybe. Something like this. Right, run it again, do a test. Yeah, okay, so there we go. We just had to make sure the line feeds worked out right. And then we need a diff, which would also be in the attempt. So the result has a diff. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Output gives me a test result. We're going to have a result rule and then the line diff rule. No, we want the, we're going to look at the, oh, I see, because it could be a failure, yeah. This is going to be a complicated thing to just print this thing. Data. Oh, okay, we'll see. So let's just put I am just going to send the result to data and just do all the lookup over here. All right, so if result kind is pass. And I think it's pass with a capital P. And then just print, that's fine. Oh. Something died here. Countered unknown time, yeah, and you have to say end if or whatever. End if. Try again. Go. So then we have this, so kind is fail. Fail and result. And we want the error. If results it would actually be nicer to put it the other way. Send it with the actual object, not the data. We can always print the data, so we can always just say result to data. I think you just do it like that. Sure. Let's just start with that. I'll hide the actual. Okay. Whoa. Why is he mad? Why are you mad? Mad because this result is half typed. And so now if we say if result.kind name equals pass, and then if we say if result error, but then there is no error object. I don't think that exists. Let's see. All right, so then we say to data it's always going to be a diff right now, and then we just need to put so this is going to give me a diff. And for print line, but we also want to say something like so Jinja has this idea. So Jinja is a template engine, Jinja 2 filter. How do I add my own filter? add filter. Let's just put it in there for now, and then I'm going to make a little diff to color this. Or we could say, like, you know, like if line starts with sucks that it has to be like this. It shouldn't have to be like this. Let's just do it like this. We'll wrap each line in a pre. We'll say delete line. We wrap this in pre. Else line starts with plus. Same thing, but we're going to say insert. And then else just that's exactly right. And diff. It doesn't like that. It doesn't like that it has two curly braces there. Okay. Data. There we go. That's exactly right. Except I need to so let's call this div class equals diff div you can even make it an unordered list or and we'll put a style here. We'll say if free, yeah, so something like that. Play inline block, yeah. It could be a block. It could be a block because we want it to go all vertical, right? Inline block would put them, make them flow like tokens. And then, yeah, diff del color equals pinkish. Okay. Sure. Maybe make this one color background white. I don't usually like to use the word color. Let's see if that works. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Wasn't really picturing it being that wide, but okay. Okay, yeah, so this is actually what it, you know, so my program is printing out unknown command because it doesn't know the G command. And then the G command sends all these lines and it doesn't know what those lines are. So it says unknown unknown command on all of those. But I need to show what the input is. So you can see that the input is that there's a letter P here. So it says G, and then it gets all this, and it says P, and it gets all this. It gets all these white lines, but the white lines are wrong because they need to have things in them. This is right. This is exactly what it should look like, except for maybe it's a little wide. Really ugly, but let's print out the input lines. Input, and then this would be like in a tab. Actual. No, sorry, this is expected, and then you could compare them. But more importantly, you would see the diff. Let's just put a diff here. I'm not going to worry about the input lines right now. I'm just going to hide this, even though it's there. It's easy to get to, but when I reformat it, I'll put those. But then H3, we want to see the input lines, and that's it. No input lines. Why are there no input lines? Not in test I lines. Absolutely right. Just okay, b test dot body test dot head. Why is there no input line? There's no anything, so I must not have the test being given right. The test is not being sent correctly. Test is T. T is check output. T is test description. Oh, that's why. T.name, T.head, T.body, T.ilines, T.olines. I'm sure this is in the database, right? This is like get test description. Yes, this fetch. Let's say fetch test. Just fetch test. Let's say test from row. Test from row. And then we'll just give it the row. And then t equals row, test from row, and then we would call this row. And these are actually not problems anymore. It will return a test description, or m.test description, which it has an ID and a chit in it, so we don't have to pop those things. We'll say row, let's say t is row. If my server died, nope, it's good. So now over here in the app, I just closed. We say t equals db test from row 0. That's now it's all in one place, and I won't have to worry about it. So now that should, with any luck, show me test I lines. Okay, so test is not the right thing. Database. Run tests. Oh, I have to return this. Now this is because the server is dead. Okay. Interesting. See what's happening here. Right, that's what I expected. Okay. Oh, but it didn't send it. Maybe I would. Okay, I'm connected now. Here we go. All right, we see the test that failed. The result is that it was a failure. Input lines are there. The diff is this. Yeah, so okay, so now we have all the information about the test. This is really super ugly. The worst interface I've ever seen. But once we get it nice and pretty, I think this is functional. So I have a program that actually passes this test. So github.com tangent storm learntris. And I have a branch of this called rustris. And rustris has a full file, main.rs. It passed a bunch more tests than I have so far. All right. So I'm going to edit my little example program, not even under version control or anything. Find it. So your template. So I just have this little dinky one here. Quit. What's going on here? It wants me to. I don't need that. And my program.rs. And I'll just copy all this. You want to restart it? No, I do not want to restart it. I don't care about this. Stop. All right, so got a bunch of lines that do something with to implement some part of Tetris. And if we say rust c my program.rs, nice and compact. I don't remember what I did there. Clockwise. I have a clockwise, but I don't have a counterclockwise. I didn't do it the array way. Where you reverse and then rotate. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to say rogo test now. myprogram.exe, myprogram.exe, yes, oh, I don't remember what the commands are to spawn something. So I think if we say I, then it's going to spawn something. G prints it there. So G should do something. I should have some button to like random, or I guess I don't. Like, there's no way to like randomly add like a bunch of stuff. It didn't pass the test. Okay, well, at least it did something different. It just didn't print any output. Oh, we should be able to take this. I wanted to pass the test. Like that was the whole point of this, was to pass the test. So let's put just io.io. What's it called? iog. Dot text. At iog.text through my program. The index is 220. Interesting. Somehow there's a bug here. 220. Okay, I wasn't expecting to be testing this right now, but rust backtrace equals 1. Somehow this didn't fail before. So either the code has changed or like Rust has changed. In step on line 7. No? Oh, how do I... How do I use debug information? I mean, that's why I used cargo. Not just -d. or debug info equals 2. Okay, so it's -G. All right, so at get matrix line 84. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. Okay, right. It's because this has line feeds on it. Yeah, there we go. So that's right. So now if we say rogo test, now it should work. And this is exactly the experience you should have when you're writing this. But because the WebSocket failed, all 3 tests passed. Didn't do anything. It didn't send me any data. Why not? I know why I didn't, but let's see what happens here. So this is actually a problem. Like this is like so what happened here is there's a bug, and so it caused some problem where you didn't see the results. And like if you run, like if you just accidentally ran rogo test twice, you would not see your results, and you would not see what you sent. You would not see, you see it passed the test. All right, but that's okay. We can say rogo. We don't have to do that. We don't have to rely on that one. We can say rogo next, and it died here. Right, the C command instructs learntress to clear the matrix. That's already done. It does not appear here. A rogo test, it should pass. It passed, and then result is a pass. Okay, so that's good. This is what should happen, but it occurs to me now that at least the first time you pass it, we should probably remember the results. So I'm going to put that in here as a note. Okay, I don't need this anymore. So we are serving this. Show the results if the user is connected. Update the result. Update the current test on tanco next. That's a new thing. So also when I say rogo next or tanco next, it should update this page as well if we're connected, and show me what I should be doing. And then because you should go to here once this looks pretty, you should go here to see what you should be working on. Connection status indicator. Okay, that's fine. But what do I want to write? I wanted to write like as a high priority thing. You don't need this. I got to go through this. Oh, you can't even see what I'm typing. But what I want to say is like my secondary to-do list. To do. Okay, so what happened? I passed the test, but the WebSocket was closed. Obviously, the thing I need to do is fix the WebSocket, so that's fix WebSockets. But more importantly, like in this particular case, if you click on like for the what do you call this? The test that I have now. If you click on IOG, you will see the test input and the expected output. And if your test passed, then that is the expected output that you sent, and so it's no big deal. But for future tests, this is probably not high priority. For future tests, for tests that are more than diffs, a passing test what do you want to say? A passing test. We should record the we should record the answer. We should record the given answer. Maybe just if, yeah, so like if the test is generated, if new tests are chosen or configured based on the program's output, like, or based on the data submitted, just say dynamically, then we should probably record any data that led to that decision. So that would mean recording the answers in the progress table. But for answers that can, but for tests that can only have one valid answer, we just record it. Just there's no need to, we just leave it null. Just leave that field null. I think that's fair. But I don't need to do this right now because all of my tests right now are exact matches. So this is low priority. All right, so I'm gonna commit what I have now as saying this passes. I'm ashamed of how ugly it is on the screen, but it does add the live data. So git diff rogo.app or rogo.app.py. If there's anything I need to remove here. Nope. Git rogo database. Okay. That's a lot of white space. I don't know why that's. Okay. Really ugly display of live test results. Display ugly test results live over WebSocket. Git push. Okay. I'm still not feeling my best here. Pushing through this. This we can probably get rid of. Might be nice to just have it to test. And oh, interesting. I actually kind of expected that to clear everything out. I'm not sure why it didn't. This is redundant. We can delete this. I have no idea why it doesn't completely wipe out the content here. When I say hello, it changes that, but I would expect it to also remove all this. Oh no. Okay, so hang on. Precious, that it's showing two different tests at a time. Rogo test. Oh, over here. Rogo test. It didn't do anything. Got no message. It didn't allow the WebSocket connection, and then it said okay. So test this works, okay, and then but it already thinks this test is passed, so we say rogo next. And submit still there, and then rogo test. Now why did it fail? Check test for attempt. So it didn't find the this is because the test name has a question mark in it, and it's part of the URL, and so that is failing. The test name is actually question mark S. Okay, so Like you just can't have a URL like that, so I have to change the name of the test. Update tests set name equals io.score.n, where name equals that from where. Okay. And then we got to paste this probably in the local thing too. For here, SQLite 3. And there's no up arrow, so get it from over here. All right, one more time. Are we connected? Yes, we're connected. Okay, so then if we say rogo test, it tested and it showed me the thing and fixed the name and it worked. So I got to record that bug. So we have to validate that test names contain only nice URL friendly characters. No question mark. Interest add a question mark. It breaks. You can escape it obviously, but like I don't want people to have to type that. Like it should be human friendly as well. You have to be granted that's not human friendly. Okay, so I got to figure out why this keeps disconnecting. Wait, what? Problem was Nginx, not Quart. Yes, but how do you do it? So Nginx WebSocket timeout. Okay, so we'll just say WebSocket timeout, all these things. I think the connect probably ought to be. I might need to study this a little more rather than just copying and pasting something blindly, but let's just try this. Let us copy and paste blindly. That's rogo.com. Just put 1 day on all of them. Okay. Now we have to restart it. Oh, hang on. Sudo deploy Nginx. Failed. How about proxy read timeout? Let's just try that. But I think it's mad because it doesn't even. Maybe we should see what the error message was. Sudo tail -f. I think you say nginx.t. So sudo nginx-t. Undirected WebSocket to connect timeout. Okay, so it doesn't know what that is. Proxy read timeout one day. Oh, but I have to deploy it. So okay, it's successful. So the proxy thing is. I'm just gonna keep a link to this. Yuck. You don't need this. Although maybe should keep it. Okay. Jeez, okay. Okay. So okay, go back to the server. And see what happens here. It's running, so I guess the test is to just reconnect and see if it times out after a minute. So while I'm doing that, the next thing to work on, or while it's doing that, the next thing to work on, I should put a timer, right? Oh, it disconnected. I don't really want to do this because it's like a long research problem, potentially long research problem. I don't really want to fix this right this second on camera. I'm going to go read about it more. I mean, the WebSockets are working well. They're working except for this timeout issue with Nginx. But like as I said yesterday, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to just stop here for a little while and come back later. The basic flow works, but okay. So the main other thing that I want to do, which I think is easy now. So one is that whenever you hit rogo next, we're going to actually update this screen again to show you the new test. And whenever all the tests pass, we're going to send something. There's like 3 states, but 2 of them are kind of similar. So you're either in the all clear state, so you can change your code however you want, and you continue running tests. And then that's indicated by all the tests passing. So when you come to this page, you know, it should not show you that there's a current test. But if you go into the, into the command line right now and you say rogo show, oh, all known tests have passed. Right. Okay. Right. So this is showing all the tests that have passed, and the question is, what is the next test? And right now, there's nothing showing the next test on the screen here. I guess actually that kind of makes sense. Then you could say rogo next. Oh, I see. So then if you said rogo next and then you ran the test. So if you say rogo next, you get a new test. The number of cleared lines. But you see nothing has changed here. If you run rogo test, it's going to show that it passes that test, except it doesn't because the WebSocket is broken. But it should have done that. If we refresh, we'll see that dot end passed. because you know, I skipped over the implementation. This is something I did a long time ago. So the little Rust code that I downloaded had a bunch of passing tests, passes a bunch of the tests. But what? So you never saw the test. You never saw the challenge in the window, and so that needs to change. You did see the challenge here, but the point is the server doesn't know that you've downloaded a challenge, and so it needs to track some kind of state that says you're in build mode now. You know, build mode meaning you're building the next test, and so it should show you the currently active test, or you're in you know, refactoring mode, and then that I think I'm calling it change mode, and then so then you can change whatever you want as long as you don't break any tests. And so it should not it should prompt you to press a button or something. Explicitly say rogo next on your command line, or press a button here. That's the main thing I want. And so I need to track that state in a field in the database, probably on the attempt itself. And then based on that, basically it's going to be, so there's also the case where it could be fixed. So you were in the changing status, and you ran the tests. So you changed something and you broke something, and then a test broke, and so that it should record. It should tell the server that you broke something, so that that test appears on the screen here. Right. This would be a whole lot nicer once we. Maybe I should just implement the like the share thing. You type rogo share, and then it's a long running process, and it talks to the server, and it maintains a WebSocket connection. But how? Then you have to download some library to do asynchronous WebSockets as a client. Python WebSocket. I usually use Tornado for that. But async, does it need to be async on my side? Probably not. But then you would say rogo share, and then basically you would be able to run all the rogo or the tanco commands from the server, and it would make the user experience so much nicer here, because you wouldn't have to keep going to the command line to do things. You would just have this run in your window. All you would have to set up is the thing to build your code and run your code. And then you would just have a button here that would tell it to build your code and then run your code. But I don't have the build part yet. I mean, that's the experience I'm going towards, like, eventually, but I know people want to test this thing and like try it out and like actually do the learn thing. So maybe I should focus on, the idea was that this thing, you should only have to download this if I'm not providing you with a way to edit your code and run your code and all that stuff, which would be the case if like you're using a language I don't support. For now I support 0 languages, so that's everybody. I mean, and that rogo share thing, or rogo, let the server drive, is something I wanted to do. I'll just push it for later. If you do this now, you're going to use the client. You just have 3 windows open. You have your IDE, you have this thing, and you have the. I mean, you could have your test, your own test runner trigger the rogo thing or something. I don't know. I got to fix this WebSocket thing though. So my test did not fix it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do some more reading about this and see if I can find a fix, keep these WebSockets connected, and figure out why they're falling down, because that little, yeah, I'm almost positive it's Nginx. I might test it locally to see if it's, if removing Nginx fixes the problem. But I think once the WebSockets are clear, that's good. And then I think yeah, WebSockets, clean up the HTML here. Fix the WebSockets, clean up the HTML, and then do the state management thing, which is small and easy. Oops. So let me just write down the logic of this. Update current test on tanco next. So all we do is put server in build state. All right, actually, instead of build state, we could just say like on the attempt, we could say test equals something, and so current test. Rather than a state, we track the current test, and this tracks all things. So like the thing that fails, attempt.fail equals test name, right? And then if any test fails, we record that. And then when we come here, if a test has failed, we show it. And that way, even if you refresh your page, you can still see what the code is. And we include your last output directly there? I was thinking of like keeping an errors table. Which would have an entry for every time you failed the test. Every time it noticed you failing a test, it would be parallel to the progress table. So okay, let's say we just put the attempt, because you might not actually have failed it yet. Attempt.next test. How about that? Attempt.next is the test name, and then or the test ID, and then add errors, or later we can add the errors table, right? And that way, that this isn't like a well, okay. I was thinking you could have it set up so that the errors table would contain all the times it failed. You'd have to union that with the success table and find the last event. Right? So you would select from the error table and the progress table, and sort by timestamp and find out the one that had the latest timestamp to figure out if this is whether if it's something that was a regression, or you've just never attempted the test. That's one of the two cases. Either you've got the next test to pass, and then it failed, in which case you would be able to show the last output. But then once you pass it, oh, I see. Yeah, we don't. So that's actually fine. Once you pass the test, this just gets wiped out, and so you don't have a next thing. Once all tests are clear, then then this is null or null. Null. So null covers the case where it's a regression. No, null covers the case where it's in all tests just passed. Which so the client has to send this. Have client send all tests passed. And then that's because the server doesn't, because the client doesn't send the results every time. If you make it all the way through the test results, then you have to tell the server that you did, and then it clears it. And it sets this by setting this, and then showing the thing. And then otherwise, so test name, test ID, or null, and then so if it's null, then all tests have passed. If it has a test ID, then either a new test or regression. If it's a regression, right, and so right. So if there's a test ID or if there's a test name, then select star from progress union. I mean, it's not exactly that, but select star from error. Select star from this. Order by TS, where JIT equals, whatever. Sorry, where the attempt ID or something like that. Yeah, you gotta do it. Yeah, you gotta do it both ways, guys. Let's start from attempts A, progress P, where AID equals this. Code, left join progress B on where P.AID equals, or AID equals PAID, and A.ID equals code. And then union with the same thing with error. Order by timestamp. So now you get a new table. That should work. I can't actually run this query because this error table does not exist. But you get them in the same format, you get this, and then we just order by timestamp descending, and then limit 1. And so now you know what the last event was. Figure out the last event. So if we record every failure, we don't record every failure, we record okay, right. This is kind of like down the line because right now, if it doesn't, I think if the validation rule, let's see what it says. Let's see what the code says. If the validation rule, once we have the validation rule and we have a regression, I think that actually does not tell the server anything. Let's see what it says. So if we go to driver and we do tests, where's test? Oh, do test. So then this calls, we run the tests, and then for in enumerate tests, I for whatever reason I expected that to be a long function. Run test, and then if it fails, local check output. Yeah, so on result kind fail, if the local one in local check output, we need to actually say, we need to tell the server that this happened, because like we have a rule now for validating the thing, for validating all the tests, but we have to actually send it to the server. So even though the processing is done locally, we don't expect anything to fail, but if something does fail, we have to tell the server so that it can update the screen. So have send regressions and or all tests passed. And on regression, so regression looks like this. And for regression, would be, yeah, so on regression, what we do, we went on regression, send failing test and output. I don't know if we need to record every regression that happens. Like I don't know if that's valid. I don't know if that's useful to the. And then may or may not record it. May or may not record it, but at least record temp.next. At least set temp.next to failing test. And then let's just make it a separate thing. Regression info. And then the separate one is on clean test run, send okay. But we don't need to do it every time. Like if you ran it 100 times and the test always passed. So I guess on clean test run after clear, we're going to keep this locally as well. On both server, local and server. And then on a clean test run, we clear attempt.next and possibly notify server. So if I'm thinking, can they get out of sync? And can we have a protocol that allows them to stay in sync or whatever? I think no. I think there's no way to know that. Like unless you can send data from the server to the thing, to the local machine. There's no way to know that the local machine. Right, so in order to clear the flag, first tell the server that all is clear. Then update the flag. Then clear the field, the .next field. If that HTTP request succeeds. I think maybe the worst case, and then rogo next, which is also up here, should also update the current test. So it should, so yeah. Basically, the worst case it would ask you to run the test again. So on next, if it's already asked them to run rogo test to clear it. Yeah, so it won't give you the next test until you trick it into thinking that you have cleared the flag, right? So that means you have to get this. You have to run rogo or tanco test, then the clear signal. Yeah, I think that's right. I think this is clear to me. I'll double check it when I come back. Like I said, my head is feeling a little fuzzy right now, and I'm gonna go check on the kids. And I'm glad that the WebSocket stuff is working. I got to do this little bit of logic here on these requests, and I think that's good. Connection status indicator that can happen later after we fix the WebSocket. The WebSocket protocol stuff is working. It's just something killing it, and we got to fix that. So I'll research that offline, and then hopefully in the next video that'll be fixed. Implement this, and then clean it up. And make a dev environment so that I have, or rename it. I got to rename it now before I go live, and then so yeah, we're very close. So thank you for patiently waiting for me to finish this. Like I said, you're more than welcome to try it. I just think it's you have a much better experience when done. So I'm gonna come back a little later and do it out.